So I got one question. Have you ever sold a device that you made it through a couple of things with? Because today I'm selling my first DSLR, my Nikon D3300, which I was in doubt I'd ever do because I've got such a special connection to it. We've been through such a lot of things. We've been to a lot of places, and it does feel weird to sell this because I've had it for quite a lot of years, and now it's gotta go. So now that it's gone, which it will be by the point I'll upload this video, I'm now officially a full Sony user, and I'm pretty proud of that because I've always wanted to fully switch to Sony because Sony cameras are just superior to the old Nikon DSLRs. But as you guys know, we're not doing that without a special shoot. Because we're shooting like a short film vlog-ish. You could call it a really short film, like a couple of minutes or so. So as you can see right now, I'm just dumping some footage right now to make some space for the stuff we're shooting today. I don't know how to call it really. And of course it'll be about this camera, but I don't want to tell you too much about it yet because I of course want you to watch the video, which we'll upload on Manuel's channel of course. I'm also a bit excited because today's the first time that I'll drive 100 miles all on my own. To him and back. You guys from America might think, oh, that's not a big deal, is it? Well, in Germany you can only drive on your own when you're 18 or older. Kinda sucks, but yeah. And also, the places in Germany are much closer together than in the USA. It's just because it's not my own car, it's my dad's car, and really it's kind of a big deal for me to drive that far, but that'll change of course. Sorry, I'm a beginner. So I've got about an hour left to shoot the footage I need, and then, yeah, the camera will be sold. So right now I'm trying out Manuel's guitar. He's still learning, and so am I, but he's still in the beginner phase. Yeah, I mean, you can play this, it's just the strings have a way smaller distance over here than over here. But, I mean, that way your fingers get trained way better. So anyway, right now, as you can see over here, on Manuel's lap, we're just dumping some footage. And you can hand me the camera right now. What do you think about the camera?
Yeah, it's it's very nice and yeah.
Yeah, that can sometimes be the problem. It's still got the 10 to 20 millimeter lens on it, which I'm of course selling him with the camera. So this is a good way also to get into vlogging, but also filmmaking, because you can always upgrade the lens, right?
Yeah.
So right now we're just hanging out, listening to some synthwave. I think I'm gonna go back home soon because it's already pretty late and I don't want my dad to worry. Why does this still happen? I don't want my dad to worry about his car, so yeah, he's gotta get that back pretty soon. Okay, why did I do this? Why did I sell the camera which has been my main workhorse for a couple of years now? Don't get me wrong, I've been saying a lot of great things about the D3300. For example, its astonishing dynamic range, which is actually mind-blowing for such a cheap camera, or its reliability. It was always there for me when I switched it on. Basically no startup time at all, and every time I switch it on, like flick the switch, press the live view button, and I was ready. It was ready to shoot, and it shot every single clip for the whole 29 minutes and 59 seconds it was supposed to record. If the SD card wasn't full, of course. It withstood a lot of rain and extreme environments, so it does have the benefits of a DSLR, and the color science of Nikon is actually really good. I really dig it. Well done, Nikon. Combined with the fairly strong codec, which I don't know too much about, after all it is mainly a photo camera, it makes a really good choice for color grading, even though it doesn't have a proper Rec. 709 profile. But you gotta know, it is after all a 6 or so year old camera by now. And unlike the early days of photography where people were still shooting on film, now cameras get old really quickly, because they're digital and technology evolves so quickly. This Canon FTB I just put up there is still a really good camera to shoot with. I really enjoy shooting with it, and with the lenses I got with it, it does take really nice pictures. But digital cameras are different. The Nikon didn't have any 4K, no 120p, it did have 60p though. No proper log or Rec. 709. The profile I made with it, which was kind of an enhanced neutral profile, which was a bit like log, was good enough for color grading most of the time, but it always had some problems working with the LUTs. And of course, LUTs are designed for specific profiles like C-Log, S-Log or Rec. 709, and it didn't have any of that. And I always knew that I couldn't keep shooting on this camera forever. Of course not. The Nikon is not really a professional camera. It is reliable, has a really great codec and great color science, all that, but it doesn't have any 4K. I wanted to switch completely to 4K, and the autofocus wasn't great either. So in 2019 I bought the A6300, which has 4K and is really good enough for me at the moment. It doesn't have the flip out screen, it doesn't have quite the advanced autofocus of today, but really the autofocus is good enough for me, which is also true for the A5100 I'm filming on right now. Why did I keep the Nikon back then? Because I really didn't have the full range of lenses that I needed to just shoot on the Sony. I still had the 10-20, which I only bought because I wrecked Jacob's other kit lens, and I had to give him mine, and luckily the insurance covered it, but from the money I didn't buy another kit lens, but I bought the 10-20 because I wanted to try something different, and I always wanted that lens, so that was convenient. And I did have the A6300, just with a really old Soligar telephoto lens, later a proper telephoto lens, and now that I sold my Nikon, I bought the Sony 10-18mm. Oh, I forgot this was not an autofocus lens I'm using. The Sony 10-18mm, which is I think really one of the best APS-C ultra-wide angles out there. Because I'm shooting a lot of real estate videos, I need an ultra-wide angle lens, and it's also really good for vlogging. Unlike the Nikon 10-20, it does only go up to 18mm, but also unlike the Nikon lens, it does have a constant aperture of f4, which is really convenient for video. If you zoom on a kit lens while filming something, you can always see that the camera is changing the exposure a little bit, and that doesn't really look good, whereas on this lens, let me just take a real quick shot. If I zoom on this lens, the exposure doesn't change at all, which is really convenient, and it looks really good, and it looks much more balanced and natural, so I really like that. And by the way, you can see how wide this lens actually is. It's 10mm on APS-C. That's a 15mm full frame equivalent. So it's even wider than a 16-35, but not as narrow as a 16-35, because 18mm is only a 28mm equivalent, or something like that. Therefore, you don't have to hold it out as wide for vlogging, which if you hold it like this, which you kind of have to do with a 16 or 18mm lens, gets really annoying and really puts a lot of strain on your arm, and it's just relaxing to be able to vlog a bit like this. So I figured, because this camera is really a bit old, I now have to sell it. And for example, people like Jared Polin also say a lot of times that you have to sell your gear sometime. It's just a tool, even though I get it. You build up an emotional connection with your camera, because if it is your first one, it's quite hard to separate yourself from it. But after all, it is just a tool, like everyone says. And as old as this camera is, I figured, okay, I better sell it now, before I don't get anything back from it. Which did help finance the 10-18 for the Sony, which is really perfect because the Sony's dynamic range isn't too bad. The LUTs work a little bit better with it, and it's overall just a better camera for video. and it also shoots 4K. So I hope you could learn something from this video. If you have your old camera still lying around and you're not really able to separate yourself from it, not really able to sell it because you've built up such an emotional connection, I advise you may rethink that now. Even though you're gonna miss some of the features, you can always buy something new. For example, after this camera, I'm already considering to get a Nikon Z6, for example, which has almost all the benefits of this camera as well as the D3300, but then again, doesn't have a great lens selection. Every camera has its advantages and disadvantages, but you gotta know when to say goodbye. Okay guys, so as you can see, I got the new lens on here. It's fantastic, and I'm gonna go for a 2-hour drive now to pick up something. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm about to pick up something lit. Something that's the surprise for this video, so yeah. So I'd say let's go. Okay, so I just arrived and I just picked up the Sigma 16 f1.4 DC-DN Contemporary Series. This lens is also one I've been dreaming of having since it came out, and now I have it. I basically now have a perfect lens collection for my Sony cameras, and that's a really good thing. So be prepared for some real good videos coming soon. I'm gonna head back home again. So if you liked this video, consider subscribing, leave a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys when I make my next video. Peace out. I'm just gonna have to shoot some B-roll of that. That's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave a like if so, and don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I keep saying that. Peace out.